Oh, watch this last night. Oh, Ghost Badger, you did? Well, guess what? You get to watch it again. I didn't watch it yet. I'm going to check it out right now. Let me pause the music real quick. And let's see what Bellular has to say about the lesser-known features of Dragonflight.
Devs have done press rounds revealing more stuff about Dragonflight. It's mostly great, in theory. So today, I'm going to get you up to speed with all of it, so let's just get stuck in. Right, it's the question in all our minds. July Alpha, late 2022 release. I mean, that's tight, especially considering that Shadowlands seem to be behind schedule. Well, both Director Ian and Associate Director Morgan spoke to this, and here's what was said. Number 1, Dragonflight has been in development since before Shadowlands shipped.
Really? Wow.
It's had the same dev cycle of any other WoW expansion. I then wonder, did they also cut a patch from Shadowlands? Obviously no comment on that. 2, testing is more focused this time round, with builds being far more targeted. All zones are actually ready for testing, but they've chosen to do them focused, one by one, via weekly builds to get more actionable feedback.
This time around, all the zones are ready for testing. We're going to be rolling them out, of course, in successive alpha. Yeah, which is what they've been doing, right? We saw the first alpha build had one zone, and now we had the Drakthir starting zone.
The same also applies to classes, which are being rolled out a few at a time, and we've already seen them very rapidly respond to Hunter and DK concerns with detailed blue posts.
Try that.
They've said that on classes, they're actually putting more development time into focused iteration based on feedback. So that sure does beat building masses of borrowed power junk so much that you actually don't have time to iterate. BFA. Perhaps then alluding to FF14, Ian said that in an ideal world, they wouldn't test at all. But he was honest, saying that they're basically not at the point yet where they'd be confident in doing that. Is that all bullshit? Well, only time will tell.
No testing at all. No testing at all would be amazing in that we would literally see everything for the first time the day the game goes live. And that would be like an amazing... Imagine the streams. Imagine yourself. Just imagine going into, you know, a new land or you know, the Dragon Isles for the first time, and literally the first time you're ever seeing it is in-game. In that aspect, I wish that there wasn't testing, honestly. I think that'd be very nice. But it is what it is. They have to test it out. And I'm fine with testing occurring so that way the game is polished and ready to go when it does come out.
I like the more focused testing, because for all the length of Shadowlands and BFA testing, the problem was they clearly did not allocate budget to iteration. Testing was less about design feedback and more about bugs. But did that ripcord ever exist? The old way was clearly a mistake. Only time will tell about the new way, but at least they're trying something different. Something different, like buyraycon.com/Bellular. Today's sponsor where you'll get 15% off your first order. Now these are the wireless everyday earbuds.
Bellular's
and there's no wonder
ad transitions are top tier.
50,000 5-star reviews. They're a great package even before our discount. The look and the feel, the texture is premium. They are super comfortable, and they're also super compact in the ear. There's no big dangly stem. Also,
I do envy people that somehow are able to avoid any spoilers, but probably almost no people like that today. Yeah, like for the stuff that I've been reviewing on stream, if it says spoiler, I usually don't review it on stream. So like story details and stuff, or quest leaks, I haven't been reviewing those. I've been reviewing like aesthetic things, like the lands, the foods, like we just looked at the cities, Drakthir customizations. That's what I care about reviewing right now.
Of battery life on the buds. So with these, it's just a no-brainer. I am never caught without charge, and they last so long that I barely even have to think about charge. They come in 5 gorgeous colors, so thanks Raycon for sponsoring today's video. Hit on my link down below, 15% off.
That's a big group, but I think
Mists of Pandari was loved for its detailed world, great amount of content, and a lot of its tone. Well, Ian said that Mists is a direct inspiration for Dragonflight, that being adventurers and explorers uncovering ancient mysteries is Warcraft at its best. Now there will be a big bad, and we're apparently going to know who that is by the end of 10.0. But it's not some impossible to relate to cosmic joker like Zoval.
Right.
So, sounds good.
No more Zobel
We've since learned a
stories,
lot about
please.
dragon riding. So first up, their goal is to make traversal be fun, rather than be a chore that you just want to get over with ASAP.
And I think
And
they've
so far from
accomplished that
gameplay,
goal.
I can tell you that has been achieved.
Yeah.
Dragon riding is more fun. Flat out, it's actually gameplay. And in many, many cases, it is significantly faster than the 310% TBC style flying mounts. I mean, seriously, nearly double the speed.
That's
We've
awesome.
since also seen
I
some
can't wait
data
to
mined
try this.
talents. Some relate to combat, even world PvP. One relates to a new type of world quest that almost gives me Pokemon Snap vibes. There's one that also says it unlocks full flight in the data mine talents. I have no idea what that means because there's also a talent that gives you 6 Vigor. And 6 Vigor will be enough to allow skilled riders to traverse the world faster than ever possible in WoW before. They've even got a neat ability that lets you return to your starting point. So if you mess up your
Oh,
flight,
so if you
you can
fuck
hit
it
a
up, you
button
can go back,
and give it
yeah.
another shot. So far for me,
The
this
bronze
feature is a
rewind, that
major,
makes
major
sense.
win. It will make world content so much more fun, which means that the world content will be important. I'll get to that shortly. Backspace is a bastard in almost every game. Well, Dragonflight's
We're
going to
getting more of it.
massively expand it. First, data mining suggests we will get 34 slot regular bags. That's 2 more
Nice.
slots than current, so with 4 bags, that's 8 more slots. Even better is the new reagent bag. It has 36 slots, and it seems to act like the reagent bank. So I very much expect it
I
will
don't
allow
need that
for
in my 310%
massive maximum
rank.
stack sizes. Even if you are not a professions person, this is going to mean that
It's
you'll
gonna
be able
clear
to
out your
sort all the
bags.
cloth that you get off mobs
sure.
easily,
Yeah.
as well as any random, material bags that you get, assuming they have similar zone perks to the ones we saw in Shadowlands.
Yeah, it'll be
I
nice
know
to clear
zone
those
perks
things
are
out from your
planned,
regular
I
bags.
just don't know if they'll give you materials. So this is massive for everyday quality of life.
Oh, Antgrove makes a good point. He says, I hope they expand the bank reagent tab. I wonder if they will. They're giving you an expanded bag slot. I mean, I'm assuming you're going to have more things to put in the bank then. I wonder if they will expand that, the bank reagent tab. Well, since you can stack things to 1K now, oh, that's true too. See, Day makes a good point. Now you can stack things up to 1K items for those gathering things. So yeah, maybe you don't need more slots. So many good points this morning.
Well, we didn't get master loot, but group loot will return. It is
Group loot.
optional, so do not sweat it. If you're worried about people ninjaing things, you can use
Yeah, we
personal
probably
loot.
won't be using group loot on stream.
This is mostly a feature for guild groups who actually like each other and work as a team. I don't know, is that a rare thing? Basically, when items drop, you'll be able to need, greed,
wish they'd
and
give us an
pass.
account shared
Then,
bank. That
they'll
would
be
be
tradable
nice.
to other group members.
That would be nice.
And this means that guilds can coordinate to distribute loot fairly. So if you wanted to run a DKP system to ensure that effort is rewarded fairly, then you can actually do that. But by turning off personal loot, you do always run the risk that items may drop that your group cannot use. Just
Right.
like the master loot days.
Could have no hunter
So
and then the bow
this won't mean
drops.
much to many people, but to a guild like mine, this will be a fantastic addition. And also, it shows that Blizzard have listened to a major player request.
They are listening. That's a very common
This next
theme
one
here.
was similarly great to hear. So, there's no Mage Tower light content for the launch of this expansion, but
Or no
Ian
Torghast,
said
thank
that
you.
looking
Thank
ahead
God.
to patch content, something like the Mage Tower is a strong candidate. He even hinted that the
Very
narrative
cool.
threads from the deaths of Chromie could be picked up on for such a feature. Now, honestly, that's just awesome, because the return of the Mage Tower wasn't great.
FaZe Big Joe, thank you for the follow and welcome to our Scourge.
But it was, of course, old content. So that they're going to make new content along those lines is brilliant. Not just for the Raiders and the Mythic Plusers, but for the people who maybe are doing solo world gameplay, but actually do want a challenge in the game. And by the way, do the Deaths of Chromie. It's really neat.
Deaths of Chromie? I didn't
TLDR
check that
for all-
out yet. What is Deaths of Chromie? Did I miss a quest line? Did I miss it? You're welcome, FaZe. Did I miss a quest line?
Friendliness is that all cosmetics and core feature availability unlocks are going to be an account-wide thing.
Deaths of Chromie.
However,
I'm gonna have to check
player
that
power
out.
stuff will not
Maybe
be.
after our run today.
So gear from a rep or profession items from a rep, those won't be account-wide, but mounts, cosmetic items, they will be. So I think that's fair enough, but I do think it would be ideal if progression was accelerated on alts, just like it was in Mists of Pandaria, especially with reps. So if I can't transfer Valor points to an alt, maybe it would be nice to give my alt a buff to acquisition if I cap it on my main.
Right,
Anyway,
right.
something like that.
Makes sense.
Now, for old reputations, Ian actually touched on the idea that they want to make a change there, perhaps even account-wide old reps, but they've got nothing to
I never did
announce
a Death of
for
Chromium
this
Legion. It's
expansion.
awesome. No,
Then for
maybe I did.
Come, servant. We have a realm to destroy.
DM1 Esther, thank you for the follow and welcome to our Scourge. Maybe I did do the Deaths of Chromie questline and I don't remember or something. I could have done it and I don't remember.
All cosmetic unlocks for the dragons will be account-wide, but they said they're not decided
I bet
on
you
the
can
actual
guess what class
power,
I
the
play.
talent
What?
progression. So I will say this, Blizzard, please make the progression of dragon riding account-wide. Because leveling up again on a new character after you have experienced a fully leveled up dragon, having the base one is going to feel really bad. But
Yeah,
leveling up
sure.
again with a full power maxed out flight, that will feel awesome.
Yeah,
So-
they have to make it account wide.
Let us lay waste to this realm.
Draconor, thank you for the follow and welcome to our Scourge. What the hell's going on this morning with all the follows? Thank you so much, guys. Whoa. It's like fucking 3 follows in 2 minutes. Holy shit. Thank you, guys. It's pronounced... it's a... Demeister. Demeister. I got you. Thank you so much for the follow. But just call me D. That's fine, too. Thank you so much for the follow.
So that'll be more fun than going from a great one to a rubbish one. That won't feel as good. And regaining power that you've, already earned won't feel great. So please do it that way. Chores. The feeling that
I'm on
you've
your
got to play the
recommended
game
channels.
for some
Damn.
power. That can often suck.
Twitch is showing me some love today. They're putting me on people's recommended channel. Well, thank you. Thanks for the follows, guys.
Right.
We're getting ready to raid Heroic Jailer here, get AOTC for a bunch of people who don't have it yet. We got 2 weeks left in the season. We got to do this shit.
Especially if you're playing something you don't want to do to get power you need for the thing you want to do. It saps your motivation to do
In the
other
meantime,
things
we're
in the
talking
game, because
Dragonflight
by
news.
the time you've actually done the chores, you're out of energy, so you can't engage in the rest of it well. Here's what Ian
Hey, well,
said.
it's a chill
Quote,
channel. You don't gotta rate.
Avoiding stuff
You
that
just
starts
watch
to
what's
get
going
seen as a chore. The daily/weekly chore, the checklist. The
Man, we got a lot of
stuff you
rogues today.
have to do, whether you like it or not, in order to stay relevant or competitive. And they don't want that. So that he is saying that sounds great.
Third rogue.
Because if he says it now,
Very
and then
melee-heavy
the
group.
team goes back on it later, well, they'll have egg in their face. So that sounds great, but what it will do is shine a spotlight onto the game's optional content. The stuff you do because it's a game, and games are fun.
Yeah, right.
And
Optional
given
content
that
is
world
good.
quests haven't been fun, what's that going to be like? World content. It's definitely something I'm a bit more worried about, and we do not know the details. It is not up for testing, but Ian has given us some
Guys.
info.
Have you guys seen like Dark Souls and shit, or what people have been playing, where they'll be walking through the land and then all of a sudden a dragon comes down from the sky and just blasts everything around and you got to start fighting it? That's the kind of world content I want. I want to see like world bosses just, we're in the Dragon Isles. I just want to see a massive, say you're walking around in a raid or something, I don't know, or just a bunch of people in a zone and the sky turns dark and a massive dragon just comes down and lands and everyone has to kill it. I think that'd be amazing. That's the kind of world content I would love to see. Something like that makes the world feel dynamic and alive. And it's like instant loot, right, too? That's really cool. And maybe it drops a mount or something. Like, there's so much great world content besides just world quests and shit that Blizzard could put in that would make the world feel more alive and just make things more exciting in general. It would just suck for anyone who's in that zone and happens to be like super low level or something. You'd get cracked probably.
A quote, he said, "Loose and hand-wavy, I could say almost 4 Zareth Mortises." That's quite the quote. It does sound good to me. We know that each zone has a major reputation that is essentially structured like a covenant. But don't worry, I said covenant, but it's okay. It's okay. That just means that the reputation is done via a renown bar, which Blizzard says they like because it lets players quite clearly see the rewards they're going to get. All I'll say is, okay, do it that way, but don't level us up via renown, because renown was just like, 2 a week and it sucked. You couldn't grind it. It wasn't fun.
See, Bellular doesn't like renown. I'll be honest. Maybe it's like an odd take or something. I liked renown. I thought renown was like easy to get, and it advanced the story. You could clearly see like what you were getting every time you got renown right. You could check like what were you going to get 15 and 30 and all that. I thought it was a cool way to advance the story. I liked renown. Yeah, see, Endgrove likes it too. I liked it more than a rep grind, personally. I thought renown was better than a rep grind, and it made raiding relevant like constantly because there was always a chance renown could drop, stuff like that. I think renown, people I think give renown a bad rap because it was attached to Shadowlands and they didn't like Shadowlands. But I think the actual renown system was good. I liked it a lot. I thought, like I said, I thought it was better than a rep grind. So, you know, it already is confirmed that we're going to see it in Dragonflight, and I don't think that's a bad thing. For alts, I didn't like it. Okay, yeah, that makes sense, JC Chronos. For alts, that's a grind. Doing it again on an alt, for sure.
So these things also, these reps, they're not mutually exclusive like Covenants.
I don't know. Bellular, no, I think Bellular loves WoW. He's just hypercritical.
Of course, do them all at once.
And he likes to
now,
create content.
Now, taking the Zereth Mortis quote at face value, I'd say they won't all be as fully blown as Zereth Mortis, but I do wonder if that means we will see maybe different.
If you're in Q&A stream, let me know.
Different things to do within each zone.
Otherwise, I'm inviting world quests. People.
I mean, it certainly seems like they're trying to do a lot more than just having 4 zones full of world quests.
True.
Like has been the standard for the last 3 expansions.
Boring.
Now, world quests will, of course, still return, but they could be a bit different. I mean, number one, traversal between them won't suck, so that'll be good. There's also a new type of them called cataloging, and a dragon riding talent that gives your dragon more space for your camera and film.
What?
So, again, that had me thinking Pokemon Snap, but I have no idea.
Camera and film? You gotta take
Personally, then, I
screenshots?
hope they include narrative for each of these new style reps. I think the narrative context really does matter. I don't want to do random world quests for the Tuskar. I want to do that and have a storyline with the Tuskar that I progress through. To end this with a quote from Ian, play the game the way you want, do the content that you enjoy, and the other stuff is there for you if you want it.
That's great.
I mean, that does sound better than feeling like you've got to grind out some Stygia or catalogued research. I just hope they shake things up and that it's not just the rares and treasures norm. We've also found out that there will be some power progression for the world content that you'll basically unlock as you move through those zones. So hopefully that will work as a nice way for non-instanced content players to actually feel powerful and have some progression.
Yeah.
So overall for me, this stuff is promising, but I need to see it in the game.
Yeah, like he said, you know, yeah, talk is cheap maybe. He needs to see it in the game, that's fine. See, Day says Shadowlands got fucked for not being properly developed because they were working on Dragonflight the entire time. You know, I mean, they did say they were working on Dragonflight. Thank God we got a mage. But I think they're always working on the next expansion during the last expansion. This is probably not a crazy thing that they were doing. What I would say is, yeah, Shadowlands, the ideals were not, they didn't come to fruition properly. And right now, Shadowlands, I think, is in a good spot. But it took them too long to get there. People already fell off, right? People are already, they unsub. They're just like, yeah, I'll come back for the next expansion. And that's the problem. We need an expansion that's good from day one. You need an expansion that's fully fleshed out. All the systems are good. Everything's good. And one good thing about Shadowlands or Dragonflight is they're not adding a new power progression system. It's just, you know, your regular, you know, your typical WoW, get your talents done, level up, and then gear out. That's perfect because there's nothing that can be broken about that. So I think they're setting themselves up for success for this next expansion, as compared to Shadowlands that it's got a new freaking power progression system for every patch. That's horrible. Imagine the balancing they have to do.
Drakthir, while certainly they are not as muscly as many people would want, do have the most customizations of any race in the game.
More muscular.
Now,
we need
this
muscular
apparently involves Blizzard making new tech. You might think that sounds a bit silly, but I think it's far more along the lines of them building a refined art pipeline to make all of this possible and efficient to build. Now, Ian said in response to this that, like how the Pandaren involved creating new tech, which then enabled the character revamp of Warlords of Draenor, that the customization advancements they've made for the Drakthir will allow for more updates in the future.
Nice. Coming to other races, more customization. If you guys don't remember, he's right about that. The Pandaren, if you don't remember, had very emotive faces and stuff, like, and all that emote technology and the talking and all that, and the way they would move and flail around while they talked, that got transitioned into all the other races in the game, because that was new. That was not how things were done before. And now we see Drakthir with like millions of customization options. That's just going to bring more to the rest of us. Can't wait.
Good. I think tech
Everyone's
and
going to the
pipeline
barbershop.
stuff has always seemed to have been a battle for Blizzard, so...
The thing is, Shadowlands wasn't that far off and was true to form. Started off rough, but at the end it's really pretty good. It is pretty good. Another thing about Shadowlands is nobody liked the jailer. That was a shitty storyline.
That being improved, plus
Not
hiring
properly
an
fleshed
extra
out.
studio to work in the game, should result in more. If it doesn't, I'd be disappointed. Well, here's a spicy quote that came from the game director. We give up. Healers. You guys win. Huh.
Good, okay.
That's something. Now, this was his response to WoW's most recent raid. The Sepulchre was extremely punishing. Essentially, it had quite a few mechanics where a single mistake from a single player could cascade into a big group wipe. Plus, it was just overtuned.
Yeah,
and
it
a
was
few other
overtuned.
things, too. And this was...
Like, I look back on how we progressed in this stream on raid. I don't even know how we did it. This raid was killer. We were progressing faster than some guilds. And yet here we are, killing the jailer again. But this raid was certainly overtuned, and I'll be happy to see raids not be this difficult
True at
anymore.
all levels of play. We're about to drop a video that goes into depth on the nerdy numbers there, and it's fascinating. Now, the impact that this had on WoW's performance was massive. It caused people to stop playing. So Ian says they're not going to do that again. Future raids will not be as hard as Sepulchre, and they will likely have less mechanics where a single player can wipe the whole team. Or at the very least,
basically every mechanic in
Anduin
can wipe the entire raid.
Look, if a few day long race to world first instead of a 2-week one, if that's the cost of a tier that actually works for more players, well, that's obviously worth it. Borrowed power. Okay, Ian reconfirmed their desire to move away from borrowed power, but he did talk about continued power gains in a raid. Of course, in the Legion expansion,
continued
your
power gains
artifact
in a raid
traits,
is
your
fine.
legendaries, your Legion fall buff, all those things made you more powerful week after week, even if you didn't get a gear drop. Now, this had the valuable function of steadily nerfing the raid over time. Just that Blizzard didn't have to nerf the raid and move the goalpost, you just naturally got a bit more powerful. And that let more people earn the power they needed to clear the raid. Ian says that they'd like to explore having a similar system to what was in BFA, where you would get a scaling buff from Azerite armor that would serve as a soft nerf to the raid. But he said, something that does not distort power everywhere else in the game. So I presume they want this in a way that it only impacts the raid, but that a PvPer or a Mythic Pluser or a world content person wouldn't have to think about it.
Oh.
So to summarize, they do want to move away from borrowed power, I think in the big overarching expansion-wide
And I think
context,
that's the right move.
But they do see the value in having something in place so that a 8 to 12 week, 8 to 12 weeks deep in a raid, people can gain a little bit of power without needing to get a new item. Doing that right.
Spider says the problem is everyone is 30 plus with kids now. That's me, yeah. Is 30 plus with kids now and more understanding of mistakes than we were when we were 20 super aggro elitists. Yeah. It's true. It's true. Yeah, I'm much more forgiving of mistakes now too. And then yes, I'm a 30 plus year old with kids, and I was 15 when I started playing this game. So there is a big difference in mindset and everything. And another thing that comes with being 30 plus years old rather than 15, I got less time to play. Which means I don't want to spend my morning wiping 36 times or 100 plus times, which is what we saw in Anduin, to the same boss. Enough of that, please. I just want to play the game, and I want to progress in a meaningful way. It doesn't have to be one shot, one kill, but let me progress at least. It doesn't have to be as overtuned as this was. 39, started playing when I was 18. Wow. Yeah, no, a lot of us are this way. A lot of us started playing as teenagers. I was 15, and I'm 32 now. So there you go. Started off rough. Nearly 2 years later, they're throwing away 80% of the renown grind. Yeah. Well, Day, you're also talking about catch-up mechanics, which is a normal thing.
Right, will certainly be a challenge. If you do that too much, then we're back to a chore-like situation depending on the acquisition of that additional power. But maybe Season 4 of Shadowlands will give us some lessons. It's got some upgrade items for raid gear that can be earned deterministically as you do bosses, as well as a way to get 3 pieces of guaranteed raid loot throughout the season, and those bits can then be upgraded. So, are there
Sell her
similar ideas that could work in raid gear, where the power gains would only be in raid? I don't know. I mean, maybe you could earn a raid currency by just killing bosses that could eventually buy an item level upgrade item that only is applicable in raid. I mean, content-specific item level upgrades are a thing they can do, as we know from PvP. Now, it's worth noting as well that you can earn soulbound materials while you kill raid bosses. Those materials are used in the crafting of raid-quality gear.
Yeah, and crafting in general has been, like, completely revamped, and I might actually do professions for the first time ever in this expansion. It's crazy. Lucian says, the time progression thing is what makes Mythic Plus such a draw for me. I get up early, I don't want to stay up late and wipe over and over. Yeah, Mythic Plus certainly changed the game. I mean, I was in law school when Legion was out and Mythic Dungeons came out, and it was all I could do. I was so happy when Mythic Plus came out when I was in law school because I didn't have time to raid. But I certainly had time between classes to run a Mythic Plus or two, and the hell yeah, I did. It was great. I enjoyed it, and it was a way for me to progress and gear out. But one thing Mythic Plus also did is it affected raid progression. Because now raid is not the only way to gear out to clear raid, right? People, there's plenty of Mythic Plusers that are more geared out than heroic raiders because they do such high keys every week, week in and week out. They're doing a plus 15 and they're getting 278 gear. So, sorry, I said 278 gear. So it's also caused progression, and it's part of the reason I think why Sepulchre of the first ones was so overtuned. And I think Blizzard's just given up on that. Like, hey, if we're going to have people grinding out Mythic Plus all day and doing all that shit and they can clear the raid quicker than usual, well, we're just going to allow that to happen from now on.
You don't have to be a crafter to make that because you can use the work order system. Now, you can equip 5 pieces of that gear. So this will provide deterministic upgrades. And
kids aren't even farming gold for you. What a shame. Yeah, my oldest is only 4. He's going to be 5 in 6 days. He's going to be 5 in 6 days. What I'm trying to do is I need to have enough kids to fill out a full raid. So I have 3 now. I need about 15 kids so I can just start raiding.
And continued progress in the same way that Valor Points did, just that it will be even more powerful because let's say you get a new drop and then you take off a piece of crafted gear, well, that's freed up another slot for another bit of powerful crafted gear. So I'm just keen to see how they handle this. I guess I'll throw it to you.
WoW token would have at least 5 mil. God, you're such a mini Asmon. I love it. I am. Well, thank you. I do enjoy watching Asmongold. I'm subbed to his channel, so I'll take it as a compliment. Yeah, I'm Asmongold if he had actually gone to law school and finished. Is that what you're saying? Then you won't need to stream. Yeah, no. Well, I would still stream because I still love streaming. Just start putting work orders in with the wife. Yeah, start. Has to have more animated eyebrows. Yeah. What are you guys talking about? Yeah. I definitely need more animated eyebrows. I need to bash my head on a desk and stuff.
On the vault, Ian said that they're
got
largely
AOTC yesterday.
And
nice.
That they would rather put their resources into problems that they think are more important. I guess all I can say is
a couple healers. We're almost full here.
On how the psychology of the vault works in a way that we think is detrimental in the long run. But if the vault does stay, I think it should be more rewarding. I think it should have a backup option that does actually allow you to earn currency depending on how many slots that you fill within a given category.
I think there have been improvements made to the vault. The vault is certainly better than it was. You guys remember what the vault used to be? It used to be a treasure chest. You open it and you get one item and that's it. You get one thing and that's it. So it's definitely improved, but of course there's always things that they can make improvements on. Am I still inviting people? Yes, we are.
Then be used to purchase gear. You maybe have to put caps in there so that raiders aren't doing PvP to get more currency or whatever. But I think at the core, people need a better fallback option.
Puts them in timeout.
So I suppose my question to you is,
next time
how would you
extend
refine
the
Great Vault? On the topic of professions, just so that you guys understand how the team see them.
If you're queued, let me know what your name is in chat.
They said that professions will be in depth enough that you can main being a crafter in the same way that somebody might main doing Mythic Plus content.
Right, yeah, so, I saw this. Someone said, like, yeah, you could be a Dark Iron Dwarf blacksmith, right? Like, that's how you play the game. Who sits in Iron Forge all day and just blacksmiths things. That could be your RP in the game, and I think that's hilarious. And honestly, they kind of took the concept from New World, and I'm fine with that because Blizzard's at their best when they're taking things from other games and putting it into World of Warcraft. and adding a little bit of polish to it. That's the way to do it. Algan, sure. Welcome.
I mean, we know that there is actually profession gear, like that you wear to be better at your crafting profession. There are also talents, plus just way more crafting depth. They also mentioned cosmetic looks, and now via the data mining, we've actually seen a few of those data mined, like little crafting tables that you get. So, pretty neat. M+ then, interesting changes. First, they are looking to simplify affixes, but they will keep seasonal ones. That does include keeping tyrannical and fortified. I guess if I was to throw my spicy opinion in here, I think, sure, keep tyrannical and fortified, keep season, and remove the rest. I think that the rest just muddy the game design. I think they tend to be annoying more than anything else. If it's volcanic week and I'm ranged, I will just have less fun. Yes, it does require skill and awareness to dodge that all the time, but the challenge of volcanic is not interesting to overcome. To me, it's just a pain in the ass. Another M+ thing, Legion M+ is sadly dead, but apparently they actually made it to test if M+ dungeons could be done for the older dungeons. Now I get why, nice. But it is a shame. I guess from their perspective, they don't want every single M+ dungeon post Pandari to be a part of Timewalking, because then people would play them all during Timewalking weeks, and then that would mean that whenever they include those dungeons as M+, as a part of a new Mythic Plus season, they wouldn't feel fresh to people because people already played them in Timewalking.
Okay.
Oh, and also, Season 1 of Dragonflight will have 4 Dragonflight dungeons in M+, then also the Jade Temple, which I love, the Court of Stars, and then 2 BFA dungeons.
Emotional damage!
20 teleport for all of them, meaning that the Mythic Plusers will certainly be zooming all across the world. There was a bit of comment on Timewalking, so BFA will be added.
I've never done that, but that's funny. It's a good strat. I do sometimes open more than one Twitch stream at a time in the afternoons. I do.
To the Timewalking system during this expansion. They also said they want to add more legacy raids, and they're also discussing what outdoor Timewalking
for work. You guys have a good one. Thanks for coming, Amraz.
They do have the scaling tech to pull that off if they want. So, I mean, I wonder. Like, first off, more legacy raids would be awesome, but they need to feel worth doing. Either add more Timewalking rewards and largely increase the raid's drop rate of the currencies, maybe have Timewalking increase the raid's drop rate massively for transmog purposes, maybe make the gear a bit more competitive.
What's up, Green Sween?
I'm not sure, but I do know that doing a Timewalking raid is usually at the expense of your normal raid night in a new tier, so they really do have to work out the why for that feature. As for outdoor Timewalking, I don't know. What could that be like? What would you like to do? And to finish us off, Quickies. So, fun fact, 50% of groups formed since the feature was added actually were via cross-faction. That just shows us how massive cross-faction was for the game. And because of this, they do see cross-faction guilds as a natural next step.
Cross-faction guilds will happen.
They loved the encryption experiment
cross-faction was
in patch
good for the game.
9.2.5, and they're going to keep that going forward for major narrative content. Now, it's not really something, sadly, that they're going to do for the level up content of Dragonflight. I have a feeling they just want to test all of that, and that is a shame. But for the patch content, that, I think, will be encrypted. And I guess on the testing topic, like, per what Ian said earlier, I hope they get there eventually, and they don't really need PTRs, and that they just don't need the other things. Now, it is fair that compared to FF14, there are aspects of WoW that are perhaps a little more complex.
There's a link called Multi-Twitch that makes multiple streams watching easier. Really? Oh, damn, I didn't know that.
Because they have more things.
Everyone multi-stream my stream.
FF14, you can't modify your job via talents, as an example. But hey, it is what it is. So there you go. That is a quick fire of a lot of new stuff that came by the developers. I wanted to do this in a way that would be spoiler-free for everybody who does not want to be spoiled. I will say a big thank you to Raycon for sponsoring today's video. These truly are my daily driver now.